Hey guys, Prowl1701 here, and today we're going to be reviewing part 2 of the Web Planet, which is called, I forget. This one, I'm really having a problem with the Web Planet right now. I know it's got a bad reputation, but man, it has been a struggle trying to get through it, and trying to review it actually. I've watched part 2 a couple days ago. I've been having to motivate myself to get the review done. There are some things I like. There is one camera shot I really like. When it shows the Zarbi stealing the TARDIS, and it's like a far away model shot where you see the TARDIS moving. That model shot looked really good. I actually really liked that shot. And then there's a scene later when the first Doctor is talking with Ian, and they spot kind of probably down where they took it, like they're standing over an area looking down at something. The way that shot looks really good. It really gives that illusion of they're kind of on a ledge looking down on an area. I actually really liked the way that was done. The actors, the main cast, have all been fine. I much prefer Vicky over Susan, so this story is going to get a couple points for not having Susan and having Vicky instead, because I like Vicky. She's written the way Susan should have been written. Barbara hasn't had a lot to do yet. She's playing more, I won't quite say damsel in distress, but kind of that damsel in distress vibe, which is not typical of Barbara. Barbara's usually a much stronger character than that, but she's being mind controlled a lot here, a classic Who trope. It was nice kind of finding out that it was that bracelet she had that was letting them control her, that type of metal. We did meet the Moth creatures, or bee creatures, or whatever. I'm not impressed with them. I feel like I'm looking at a person in a suit, which is what it is. Part of it's not the suit itself. I actually really like the head part of the suit. I think the head part's actually pretty impressive. It kind of reminds me of Buzz Off from the 2002 cartoon, He-Man cartoon. Not the 80s cartoon or the 80s vintage toy, but his head shape he had in the 2002 series. It's very reminiscent of that, so I kind of like that. It's more their mannerisms. When they're standing there doing all of this all the time, I'm sitting here going, I don't know why. Something about something human pretending to be something not human doing these weird body motions rubs me wrong. I have the same problem with the kind of ice women in Attack of the Cybermen. I talked about in my Attack of the Cybermen review. I didn't like them very much. They have that way of talking and moving their hands, and I hate that. So I have the same problem here with the Moth people when they're doing this thing. And I get it, again, it's basically like a teleplay. They're acting the way they would in a play, but for some reason I just find it off-putting. Now, the Zarbi, they do some clever things where I talked about before, my biggest complaint about the Zarbi are the human legs. When you see the walking and they have those human legs that look like they're just, in like a rubber suit, the legs look really human. But they're very clever about keeping that hidden a lot of times, where you just see the Zarbi like kind of poking out of a shot like this, where you just kind of see from the back. You don't see the rest down, you just see the upper body. That's clever, and that works. And in those scenes when they do that, the Zarbi work for me fine, which I like. I like the fact that the Zarbi are totally alien. They're not just a person dressed up as something else like the Moth people in a lot of Star Trek and Doctor Who aliens are, a person with makeup on. They are different. They communicate differently. I like the fact that even the Doctor's like, we can't communicate with them, just don't resist. I enjoy that. I like the fact that they're totally alien. Yeah, they look kind of like giant ants, but they're alien not only in how they look, but how they communicate. They don't communicate the way you and I would communicate. And I like that. It's like they communicate with their little clicks and whistles and stuff. And that's pretty cool. And I like the fact that it seems like there's no invisible enemies. They can just move stuff with telekinesis, like when they're moving the TARDIS. I like the fact they understand that the TARDIS is somehow important and relative, and the fact they can open the doors to the TARDIS. That's interesting, the fact they can make the TARDIS doors open. Or if not them, something can. Because they have been able to open the TARDIS doors. That's why Victoria went out. So that's interesting as well. The camera problem is still there, where this one camera just looks super glazy like it's got Vaseline smeared on it. And there's a couple shots where the camera's partially like that. Like it looks kind of clear, but kind of smudged. Like there's this one little line that's drawn kind of like this over the lens at one point. Like you see it when, I think it's either when the first Doctor is talking to Ian when he's caught in the net, or right when the first Doctor catches up with him. I think it's when the first Doctor catches up with Ian, and Ian's on the ground, and him and the Doctor are talking. And the Doctor's face is right over the smudge, so while the Doctor's talking, you can't really see it because it's just this little line of smudge. Like the camera just needed a good wipe down, but the cameraman just couldn't give two fucks about it. Maybe he was like, it's not my job, whatever, I don't give a crap. The cameraman just seems like he didn't give two fucks, which to be honest is kind of how I feel about this review. I'm not getting into this story. But there's another time too, in the story where you can just tell it's that same camera where it's partially smudged with that little line. Man, it's bad. And then the camera cuts, it'll cut back between fine-looking camera and Vaseline-looking camera with everything's in that soft focus. And ooh. Yeah, that doesn't look good. And then from a story point of view, the story is just not grabbing me. Like, I am not engaged with it at all. I'm having to work myself up to do the review. This feels like a story that I'm not watching because I want to watch it. I'm watching it because I run a Doctor Who YouTube channel and I feel obligated to watch it and talk about it. Especially since someone did send this to me, because it is one I wanted to see. Because, Doctor Who stories have this thing where some of them are considered great, some of them are considered not, and some of them fall in between. And Web Planet is one of those that's considered not. But there's been other stories I've seen that are considered not that I've actually liked. Like Nightmare on Eden and Creature from the Pit and so many others that have not so great reputations, but that I've found to be underrated. But sometimes you run across those stories where you're like, yeah, that one deserves its reputation. This is one of those. At least thus far. A third of the way through it. This one deserves its bad reputation. Even if I wasn't running the YouTube channel, I'd still watch it just because I've never seen it and I would want to see it. But it very much at this moment feels like I'm not doing this because I'm excited to do this, because I'm a Doctor Who fan. I'm doing this because I run a Doctor Who YouTube channel and I feel obligated to do this. Ooh. Yeah, now, to be fair, this isn't the worst Doctor Who story I've ever seen. This isn't the worst First Doctor story I've ever seen. Yeah, this story has been pretty bad so far. But, it could be worse. It could have the Ballad of Johnny Ringo playing in the background. Or a giant squid could show up in the background. Or another Doctor with a rainbow-striped shirt could show up and then suddenly start acting like she was 37 steps behind everything that was going on around her. So yes, the story could be much worse. But it's still not engaging me thus far. So we're going to continue on and see how it goes, and hopefully it will get better. I'm guessing there's a third alien party at work besides just the Moth people and the Zarbi. I get this impression there's another intelligence going on. If I had to make a guess, we'll see. So episode 2 of The Web Planet, the name of which I forget, because that's just where my interest in this story is at the moment. What do you think of it? Comment down below and let me know, because I always enjoy hearing from you. Other things to do while I have you here. If you watch the channel and on a regular and haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click that like button and that subscribe button. That helps me out, and I certainly appreciate it. And it's free. I love words like free. I also have a Patreon. If you would like to support me on that, I have a link to that down in the description below as well, with several different tiers to look at. I also have a P.O. box if there's anything you would like to send me. This story was actually sent to me by one of my subscribers. I actually forget who sent this one right off. Might have been Unknown289. Might have been Flyattractor. I forget. But one of them sent it to me, and thank you to who sent it, because it is one I've been wanting to see. Regardless of what my review's been, I had been wanting to see it. So if there's anything you want to send me, that's down there, as is a link to my Amazon wish list and a link to my Amazon UK wish list as well. Most importantly, though, thank you for watching.